Here are all the strange articles of the week that you might have missed in the news. We'll be covering a mass UFO sighting in the United States, potential oxygen on Mars, AI haunting the dead, and more. Before we get into the news, actually, a word of caution. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the Earth will receive 6 CMEs or coronal mass ejections. So if you can stay out of direct sunlight, it is highly advised. And it's actually getting so intense that parts of Britain that have never seen an aurora borealis are seeing them in the sky. Also, satellite and radio communications are highly expected to be affected. Now, with the weather out of the way, I'm excited to bring in my special guest and co host for the day, Patrick Armstrong from the Vetted Podcast. Patrick, how are you doing?
I'm awesome. How you doing, Christina?
I am just as awesome. At least I'd like to think so.
You are. You are. Yes, thank you for having me. I'm super excited. I was wondering if my camera was going to work with all these, flares popping around. I don't know what's going on. I'm glad you brought it to our attention.
It's it's valid, and some people are already having glitches across the world with their televisions, with their regular any kind of electronics. People are
Yeah.
encountering these things today and tomorrow, and I do wanna say, Vito, thank you so much for that. And so, Patrick, I wanna start off with putting eyes on you. Who who are you? And I know I'm really putting you on the spot for strangest news of the week, but what's your podcast about? And tell us about the latest news that you covered on the Vetted podcast.
Yes, vetted podcast. We cover, right now the UFO and alien topic, right? The community of what's going on. And I do daily videos every day, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Pretty easy, and then interviews occasionally. And most recently, something that I covered that I found interesting was this news about David Grusch and AARO, their connection. Yeah, there's a picture of Lou Elizondo. He tweeted out that he had heard some time ago that senior elements, I want to be specific with some of those words, senior elements within AARO were trying to prosecute Dave, as he put it, David Grusch, for going public, which is, there's a lot like unsaid there as well. Said, there's a lot there said, right? But then unsaid, like, well, okay, oh my God, this is crazy. Just because of the relationship Dave has had with trying to get a meeting right with Sean Kirkpatrick, and not just Sean Kirkpatrick, but people within AARO. And this adds a whole nother element, right? Of why didn't Grush go in and give his testimony, right? And I think I don't know. For me, this was like just scary in a lot of ways because it's like that story isn't all wrapped up in a bow like people thought. What? When you heard it, what did you think? Was that surprising to you to hear this
Well,
about Arrow?
let me tell you this. I didn't know about it until I watched your show this afternoon. I was like, what? I feel so out of the loop with these things as I'm attempting to avoid social media. And so when I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh. And it was it took me aback, as I had mentioned to you backstage. It's not really shocking, like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy," but it's shocking enough to just kind of raise an eyebrow, and I think people have had this idea over the last few weeks with information with Grush and Arrow, where Arrow had made statements that we attempted to communicate with Grush, and he bailed
Yep.
several times, this, that,
Yep.
and the other. Yeah, it made Grush look really, really bad in so
Yeah.
many ways because he's saying one thing, but the evidence, and those are in quotation marks, are saying another. And when we're dealing with situations like this, it is easy. It's to make up information. And people have brought in examples that have to do with Bob Lazar. People say, oh, this is happening to David Grudge, happened to Bob Lazar, probably
Yeah.
happened with Lou Elizondo, and who knows who else it has happened to. And I think it's catching some people by surprise, but I think for a lot of people that have just kind of been in the field doing the research,
Yeah.
I think a lot of them can only just kind of nod their heads and say, "Yeah, kind of saw that one coming." But what about you? I mean, what's your standpoint on this?
I think you did a great job of probably covering a lot of people's feelings about it. To be honest with you, yeah, there was this whole sort of subplot, if you want to say, about David Grusch and Sean Kirkpatrick in this meeting. But that's only if you're really deep into this topic, did you even know about that? If we're being real. So, you know, but more importantly, it's just his testimony, right? To AARO, the office set up by the Pentagon that's supposed to study this. It's not being trusted. It's just like another level, right? Because you hear about Congress, members of Congress, at least the intel community, not really trusting AARO. People speaking publicly and saying they don't really trust AARO. I think that just adds another element of not necessarily, again, black or white. It's one way or the other, but at least, okay, there's more here to look into, right? Like without David Grush saying anything, right? Without him, I guess he's just letting the email speak for itself. Lou putting this out. Is it really about him going public though? Was it about some other law that he broke? Senior elements of AARO, I don't know what that means. Some time ago, was Sean Kirkpatrick involved, right? Like how long ago? But if that is true, and I kind of do believe Lou to be true there with that, I totally get why Dave wouldn't want to go to AARO, and I don't know. It's just another cloudy element around AARO, I guess. However,
Harrow hasn't well, Harrow hasn't really been getting a good reputation with Kirkpatrick being the face of it, and
yeah,
especially with the reports that we've received from Arrow, the first one only being a few pages where it was just a word salad, and then the second one where it was a good chunk document
yeah,
looking at dozens of pages, but it was all about all these previous UFO projects and offices that found nothing to do with UFOs. Then why constantly fund it since the 1950s all the way until 2022? And so when we're looking at this, when we're looking at how Kirkpatrick had presented himself on camera with the interviews, when he did the funding hearing with Gillibrand, and all of these different things, people are very wary of Arrow and even reporting any of their information to them. Now that there is a new, temporary chief by the name of Timothy Phillips, I feel confident that's the name, or
yeah. That is it. You're right. You're
okay,
right.
thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. So maybe it might go a little bit smoother. Will there be a new office? We'll just have a new name because we had the UAPTF, we had the AOI MSG, we had Arrow, all doing the exact same thing, different people, different name, but same topic. And so with Grush and with Arrow and with Lou Elizondo, it just seems like a hot pot. Like we're making some kind of hot pot dish here with all these different ingredients to attempt and understand what is going on here. But it doesn't seem like everything, as you had mentioned, Patrick, is black and white. There's so many layers, there's so much happening behind the scenes that this could all be maybe a distraction from something else.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. That without a doubt. That's the problem and the solution all at the same time. It's like, okay, yes, and now what? It's like, now what do we do? Is Arrow going to comment on this? Is Dave Grush going to comment? Is Lou Elizondo going to further comment on this? Like, what do we do with the information? I guess I don't know. Arrow's got a lot of work to do and rightfully so, to make up, like you said, for their reputation. And honestly, they need to realize whether or not it's valid or not, like whether or not it's justified. They need to do something about it, right? Like at that point, you go, doesn't matter if it's justified or not. We got to do something about it, if that makes sense, right? And they are politically funded in a lot of ways, so I mean, that just matters, in a lot of ways to get that funding to keep going. They have to remember they're a public facing office, not just sort of hidden behind, in my opinion. So that changes things. They should be worried about their reputation, because a lot of it is based on that, when we'll dictate what they do further based on what they can get from their reputation, and rightfully so.
And When we're dealing with the government and these government offices and projects, they do have to save face, but that's not stopping people having sightings, having encounters. And just recently, in early May, there was this UFO that was seen across California, Arizona, Utah, and Nevada. And it took place May 2nd at around 9 p.m. local time. And I
Oh,
know this picture looks
wow.
like a blob or like, I don't know, the moon, maybe even Venus. But and I know people are gonna
It's
say that,
pretty
and I
bright.
hear you. It is, but there have been multiple images and videos posted online in those areas. Again, that's California, Arizona, Utah, and Nevada during that same time frame of people seeing this weird object or very, very bright light in the sky. And it's very quickly been checked off as not being a rocket, not being an airplane, not being a
Yeah.
drone, and the list goes on and on. This was so let me back up. Enigma Labs looked into this, and they received about 20 reports on the same observation. And what's really great about reaching out to someone to document your sighting to, have it be Newfork, have it be MUFON, Enigma Labs, whatever, because they're getting so much information, they're able to see a pattern, connect the dots, but also do a deeper dive than your average civilian of looking at plane paths, right? Rocket launches. If a satellite was in that area during that time frame, and so this is where these kinds of groups or maybe even operations do really come in handy. Patrick, were you aware of this sighting at all? Because, you
No.
know, some of these, what we're looking at here, some of these kind of look like classic spirals that you kind of
Yeah.
get from rocket launches, to me at least, but other images captured do not look like those spirals. So what do you
Yeah.
think we might be dealing with here? Were you familiar with this sighting?
This is interesting. To be honest with you, now that you just said that about the spiral, the spinning, right? That is interesting on this one that you're showing right here for sure. It's just context, right? It looks odd. What do you want me to say, right? Like it definitely. I mean, it's very interesting. I guess really that's something I've learned about looking at pictures and videos, and I'd be curious to get your opinion too, right? Like taking in all the context of the sighting is important, not just right this blur we're looking at, but okay, what did other people say that day? What was reported? What have they eliminated from the equation, right? Of what it could be, and then honestly, there's also nothing wrong with leaving it at I don't know what that is, at all. But they are curious, and I think, like the Enigma, the app, right? Isn't that what's called? Isn't that what's called? Enigma?
Yes, you have the Enigma Labs, and
Enigma
apparently
Labs?
they have an app, according to Jessica.
Enigma app, yes. Jessica, shout out all the vetters watching. Thank y'all. Um, yeah, I think that's cool. To get all that together and to draw the resources, right, of other people who are willing to get involved, like MUFON, as well, and get people behind these sightings. I mean, what do you see when you look at this?
Some of them, as I had mentioned, it does look like I think for the other one, it has a spiral shape that we are
Yeah,
aware rockets create. But
yeah,
according to Enigma Labs, there were no rocket launches taking place May 2nd. So I'm like,
yeah.
okay, I guess maybe there was a secret rocket launch, maybe, but it doesn't
Do
fully
model
explain
rockets do something like that? Like where that wouldn't be reported? You know what I'm saying?
that. No, that's a valid statement. And I think it just depends on the size and who's operating it. Do they need to report it? But what's interesting here is that we're seeing 4 states that had similar sightings. Again, that's California, Arizona,
Yeah,
Utah, and Nevada.
sure,
And so I think
sure.
that really stands out more so than just being one casual sighting in one part of the world. Yeah, easily brush off as a rocket, no problem. But when we're dealing with multiple locations, seeing it at around the same time frame, that's when it, I think, begins to catch people's interest. And some of them, for all intents and purposes, look like portals or wormholes. I mean, I love the theme. I love the theme of portals. But to be more critical, they do have the similarity to rocket launches more so than anything else. I got to
Interesting.
ask you, Patrick, if a portal opened up right in front of you, would you walk through it?
Hell no. Sorry. I'm sorry. I I apologize. No. No, I would not walk through something that looked like a portal in front of me without like a has somebody tested this? Have we sent in a robot first? Um yeah, the portal idea is interesting. I don't know. I haven't really gone down those rabbit holes yet. To be honest with you about portals. It's fascinating if I'm not, if I'm being honest. And so hearing your opinion, you sound like you know more about that. The fact that it may look like something like that is interesting. And what is the point? Like, is it a rip or somebody purposely open a portal? Because to me, a portal seems like purposefully done, put together for a reason. Whereas maybe, right, like a rip, it's not meant to be there, right? Like, so when you say portal, is that what you mean? Something that's meant to be there or not, or it's the same thing?
It's a possibility of either or. What our current understanding when it comes to attempting to create portals and or wormholes is that you need an extensive amount of energy, or you can use exotic
Energy.
matter,
Okay,
which is like,
got it.
the theory of it. And so
Okay.
some of them could be created with intention, while others might be open by accident. Portals are still a gray area. We
Oh,
don't have a lot of information on them, and if we do, it's not public. But at some point in time, Patrick, you will deep dive into portals, and you
oh
won't. You're
yeah,
gonna get
for
sucked in.
sure.
You're not gonna come. You're not gonna come out of it.
I'm gonna
But
get sucked in
Skinwalker
a
Ranch,
portal. A portal.
get it? But
Right. Yeah.
Skinwalker Ranch is a good example of
Yeah.
portals, and scientists witnessed them during the Bigelow era, and that has been reported. And it's also been reported with ancient cultures, Native American cultures, where they talk about portals. So it's something that has been consistent across human history, where
For
people
sure.
have just mentioned it,
Yeah.
documented it, shared it in stories and myths. And so
Yeah.
there has to be something to it. It's just learning how to harness it and how to appropriately use them.
Yeah, I mean, I had Ashton Forbes on, and we spoke about portals, and how, I mean, it's way over my head. He got very scientific with how it could be feasible. Yeah, I mean, think about it. Say portal to anybody. Right? I mean, in whatever language they know, people know what that is, right? It's a common thing, even outside of film or whatever. If they've seen it in a movie, right? Like we know the idea of a portal. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely fascinating for sure. Like, where does it go?
Exactly, like,
Right?
what if
Where does it
it could
go?
take us to Mars, from Earth to
Dude,
Mars?
dude, that'd be
And
great.
what's
That'd be
crazy
great.
now is that according to life science is that they might, and this is like a might in all caps, that they might have found rocks that have a concentration of manganese oxide on the
Yes.
ancient Martian shoreline. And the findings suggest that Mars might have harbored Earth-like conditions with higher oxygen levels during its early history. This is really exciting for 2 reasons. 1, people want to be on Mars now. They want to put man's foot on Mars, cool. But
Yeah.
the other really interesting thing about this is all of the ancient stories that have to do with Mars, the alleged ancient civilizations that used to live there. And if that is the case, could this be potential evidence of that being a possibility? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I found this so exciting.
Oh, 100%. I had no idea about this. Like, all that's what's great about your show, Christina. Right? See, it brings to light even for people that are pretty deep into this, but as we have talked about, like there's a lot to take in. But yeah, I never heard of this. This is fascinating. It's in the mainstream sort of science lane, right? So if something found there helps add some credibility right over here about some of these theories or speculation, yeah, that's exciting for sure. I found the details about what exactly they meant and how they found it and what that could entail, it's exactly what you think, right? Like it is kind of exciting. Like other life form could have existed, oxygen rich or not oxygen rich. It's fascinating, honestly, of how the rocks were formed and what that means, and even they're excited by it, right? Even the
I would hope
scientists
so.
are, right. Like, yeah, yeah. So very cool. This picture's
It
cool
is.
too.
It is, and it just adds another piece of interest because from the erosion on the rocks, it demonstrates that there used to be water there.
Yeah,
So when you have
exactly.
water mixed with these oxygen-rich rocks, potentially oxygen-rich, it's just you can create a whole story in your mind of what life might have been like maybe 1,000,000 years ago, 2,000,000 years ago, or
Yeah,
further out. Because when you have those characteristics for a
yeah.
planet, we have been taught that life can thrive in those situations. So for I don't know, I thought this was really exciting, and I do want to
It
say,
was.
Thomas, thank you so much, and Paul as well. I do appreciate it a lot. So before what do you, I know that you kind of just got into this topic heavily in the last year. There's still so much to cover, but when it comes to Mars, what are your thoughts or your interests in it?
That's a great question. You know, I haven't, I've just heard different stories of coming from Mars, and I would be intellectually dishonest if I didn't say that when I first hear stories like that, at first it's like, okay, okay, what are we talking about here? Ancient civilizations on Mars. We don't see the bases, or current bases on Mars, right? Like that's happening right now. I'm just like, okay, what? I don't know. But then they talk about older, right, civilizations that could have existed there and what Mars looked like before. That's exciting because I think that's totally possible. I think Mars was lively at one point, right, and teeming with life, and whatever that means, I don't know. But like, right, they found these rocks at the edge, like you said, the edge, like the bed of this maybe lake, right, or something. So you start to imagine this lake, and then shrubbery of some sort, right, and then all this ecosystem, and yeah, why couldn't there have been advanced civilizations that existed, um, potentially even our ancestors, right? Why couldn't something have hit Mars and bam, panspermia right here, and we're from that to, I mean, that's all exciting to me. That's how Mars fits in the equation for me. I'm sure you know much more as far as that goes. I just know, like, I've seen The Martian, like that's, I hate to say it, that's the extent of my knowledge there.
And then also you have John Carter the movie, and that was just a fantastic film. I don't have you seen it?
I interviewed, the lead actress of that film. Remember her, the queen or
Yeah.
whatever, the
Yes.
princess, on my other podcast. She's from Texas. So I got to talk to her about that film, and, like, initially, that was, like, gonna be a big deal. Like, John Carter, like, "This is a big deal. We're putting all in John Carter," and she's just thinking, "Okay, this is it for me. I'm about to hit it big. This is gonna be a big movie," and then it just complete flop. But I actually didn't, I liked the movie, like, I thought it wasn't a bad movie. I don't know why it got so much hate. I don't know. Maybe I'm easy to please, but, yeah, John Carter.
Like, I mean,
A
I love
and it
the
had a portal,
concept.
right? Wasn't there a portal in there?
Portal, time travel to an
Yeah,
ancient Martian past. I mean, I think it had all the factors, but you're
yeah,
right. It didn't really catch hold like it could have. And there are so many reasons to that
yeah,
potentially, but I think it
sure.
number one, I think it's super cool that you're able to interview the lead actress. That is super exciting.
Yeah,
And to also just be familiar with that film, especially when talking about Mars. And when we're mentioning extraterrestrial life, and I wanna hear your thoughts on this because I love like, on Strangest News of the Week, it's not Strangest News of the Week without talking about AI and AI developments. Do you think it is possible that extraterrestrials, maybe even interdimensionals, might be using AI to the ability that we have yet to reach in order to investigate and understand our universe?
yeah, absolutely. Why not? That makes total sense. I mean, what would be past AI, right? If you think we get to AI, what's past AI? You
Maybe
know what
when
I
it's, like,
mean? Is
integrated
there
to you, when it's, like, half
sure.
biological and half
Yeah, but
technological.
that seems like still made up of stuff we already know. So what would be past it that we does it make sense like even further some other we just I guess we wouldn't think of it honestly. But yeah, absolutely. The idea of that seems more efficient and efficiency seems right like something resources, energy, no matter how advanced you get, your reach and your power also gets advanced. Therefore, you still need energy, right? Like, so I think, yeah, I think that's totally possible. They would use AI, for sure. And AI is fascinating. Just where we're at. Imagine, oh my God, just
Well,
imagine
it's
where we're gonna
insane,
be.
and
It's insane.
well, exactly, and we're able to see the evolution happen right in front of our eyes, where
100%.
AI
It's
is
crazy.
evolving
Yeah.
every single day, and I'm not using that term lightly. However, there is a good side and a bad side to AI, just like any piece of technology, which leads us into our next article that has been actually posted across multiple news outlets where it's dealing with artificial intelligence and how it can almost haunt you, use a dead person's memories and mannerisms and connect with you. This is something that has been talked about, I would say, over the last year and a half or so, but it's becoming more prevalent. People are really considering this as a more detrimental possibility because when someone mourns for a loved one, they're more susceptible to lies and to things that at the end will be detrimental to their mentality, maybe even their health as well. So here, what we're looking at are these things called grief bots, dead bots, or death bots. And it could very soon, if it's not happening already, which it kind of is, could become a reality with several firms now offering this service to
Wow.
be able to speak to your dead Aunt Susan, to be able to communicate maybe with Albert Einstein, and to just feel their quote love, right? Their share their memories where you're able to tell them how your day went.
Wow.
In your opinion, Patrick, do
Wow.
you think this has good ideas to this, or should we avoid it like the plague?
I mean, you know, society will get what it wants. It's demand. If there's demand for it, they'll do it. A lot of times, these things are tools. It's how we use the tools, right? Anything we create can be used improperly. Like as I was going through this article that you shared with me about it, honestly, it was quite fascinating. I never heard of this. These grief bots. It seems inevitable that it will go there. And again, it's just going to be how people use it. Or is the person that passes away going to pass off the rights? Can the person that they passed it to turn it off whenever they want? Or the person, no, it has to go 10 years. You've got to be with me 10 years. And let's be real, that technology will get better and better and better to where you may not tell the difference. Could we never die? And is that transfer still us? And then what? There's these copies of us floating around. Like, I don't know. I find it fascinating. Will they then meld that into some sort of robotic interface, right? Where you've got something it's not just on an app or on your phone, or what will it look like? Be a picture that moves, right? I mean, there's a lot to consider there. And in what can you change them, to whatever you want to look like or to say, or I don't know. I think it's just going to be up for people to use. But yeah, I think the technology will come out regardless. It just will. And then it's a service that you'll either sign up for or won't. I'm sure there'll be some horror stories and they sound horrific. I can't imagine. They gave some of the scenarios in the article, and it does. It sounds horrific, especially when it involves children, right? Not understanding, oh, mom is still talking to us. What's going on? I don't get it. Is that real? Is that not like maybe not offering it to people that still are figuring out those sorts of things. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's a tough one. Adults only potentially can use the technology. I don't know. But then, You get into parenting and children and what are the rights. I mean, there's a lot to consider, honestly, from this simple article. To be honest with you, that's why it's a great article, Christina.
There is a lot to consider, and when
Yeah,
you are communicating with the quote dead, there is no grieving period. And that's something that we all have to go through at our own
yeah,
time. Some take longer
sure.
than others, but if you're still communicating with who knows have ever has ever passed away, you will never heal from that. And so AI, it's just evolving exponentially. And first we had replica, create your own imaginary partner, right? Be in a relationship with them. And that skyrocketed. I mean, it had phenomenal like reviews and downloads and all of that stuff.
Wait, that's a real thing?
Then, yeah, it's been a real thing. I want to
Replica?
say for the last like year or two, replica with a K.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
never heard of that. I didn't know
No,
that.
it's
People
a
could
real
have
thing.
relationships with an AI?
Yeah, and there's
Oh,
yes,
interesting.
and Vito,
I mean,
thank you
that's
for that.
inevitable too, right? Let's be real. That seems inevitable.
It it is,
Not that
and
it's right
it's
or wrong. I'm not, does that make sense? I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that
it's
seems like
inevitable, it's
that's
going to
inevitable.
happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
at some point, we're gonna have the replicants, like, from Blade Runner. We're heading that way,
yeah.
especially with all the robots that are being incorporated with machine learning, and to be able to learn after a conversation and know more about you, collecting that data that you have when you're having a conversation with, like Sophia,
Wow.
for instance, and Amica, and and the list goes on and on. But when we're dealing with having these apps that will soon be available, and some of them are already available.
Wow.
We've seen this before. It's the same thing. There was an AI that came out. I want to say like 6 or 8 months ago, where you could talk to Jesus and talk about the Bible, talk about all of these different things. That did not take off very well. Then you, with ChatGPT, for instance, you
Jesus
say, "All
got
right."
rejected. He got poor Jesus. Oh my God. Two
Then you
crosses
have
in one life. That's horrible. Poor Jesus, man. How did that not take off? That is that poor guy. I'm sorry.
yeah. But there's more, because then you also have ChatGPT or these other AI platforms to
Yeah.
explain something to you, like Aristotle, like Albert Einstein. And so
Wow.
this can either be beneficial or detrimental to humanity. It just really depends on the person and how they want to use it. And it's really just to
Yeah.
each their own here. But I think on the positive side, AI will help us explore the universe
Yeah.
better than ever, that we simply are not able to do
Yeah.
without it.
Yeah.
And it's able to
Yeah.
find patterns faster than we can, find exoplanets that have technosignatures better than we can, and the list goes on and on. And so, in that point of view, it's great. In the emotional point of view, it's not
I'm
rocking.
with you. I'm with you. Well, it's you know, I've always thought about this too. People say, "Oh, advanced civilization," and you immediately your mind jumps to big buildings and electronics and flying around. And then, why is that advanced? You know what I mean? We're setting up our own future. Why is that? What is advancement? Why, you know what I mean? Why do we need that? What are we giving up to have it? Right? We're in a particularly weird time in humanity. We just are. We're lucky to be alive right now. We're at the greatest, humanity has ever had it. And on top of that, we're seeing, yeah, I like the word you used earlier, evolution in many ways, not just with AI, but with how society is just ran every day and the expectations of a human. And it's getting better where, you know what I mean? More people are getting to a point where whatever, they have more time on their hands. They could focus on different things, which is interesting and it's changing the world. And again, we're advancing, but are we? Is that advanced technology? To me, it's just new technology, not necessarily advanced, because is it? I mean, how far are we going to go before we're not human and nothing matters? If does that make sense? Like, I don't know. It's just interesting to me. I don't know how you know what I mean. What are we giving up? Is
You're
basically the
bringing up
question.
you're bringing up some very legitimate points. You really are. There's also, I don't know if you know this, but there's a whole
Thank
job
you. No,
of,
continue along that. I'm bringing up good points. Go ahead, Christina.
yeah,
Just want to give you some space there. No, I'm just kidding.
bringing us the great points, Patrick. But there's a whole job
Oh
section, a whole
shit.
job category of AI ethics, of
Yeah,
how is it affecting humanity, what can it do? But looking at evolution and the advancements of humanity, what you had stated of, is it big buildings? Is it just bigger and better technology? And
exactly.
you know what? Maybe it's not. Maybe the evolution has to begin in the mind of being a better person. Right now, while we've evolved technologically in the last 100 years, 200 years, we haven't mentally. We're still just as brutal and cruel as ever, maybe even worse. I mean, the narcissism has gone through the roof in the last 10 years compared to any other point in time. Does that make us more advanced because we have cell phones that are like these tiny computers in our pockets? Yeah, so when you place it like that, you got me rolling in my brain of like, yes, continue onward, Patrick, because it's something that we all need to consider. Is advancements the next iPhone? Is it the next, I don't know, Neuralink chip? No, I don't think so.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And there's no stopping the machine, right?
No,
What you know?
no.
What do we do?
Next will be like the Borg.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be like what was that movie? Snow Train or something, or snow, you know what I'm talking about? Snow Hoarder, or I don't know. That Korean movie with Chris Evans, where they're on that train and all of humanity's on that train in the winter apocalypse, and the classes, the rich at the front and the poor at the back. Anyway, that's what there's no stopping it. That's why it
Is
is
it
important to take care of your circle and your journey and your.
the people are saying that the movie that you're referring to is called
Oh,
Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer. I don't know what I said earlier. Snowboarder. What did I call it? I always get things wrong on the unvetted. So, yeah, Snowpiercer. That's it. Snowpiercer. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to everyone watching live. Thank you guys for joining. Christina's awesome, isn't she? This is my first time on here, and I'm having a great time. So, thank you. Just want
Thank
to
you,
say
thank
that.
you.
Throw that in there.
And if you're enjoying the show, please hit the like button right down below. And if you're enjoying Patrick, his links will be in the description box as well. And head over and subscribe because I was on his show, or I will be tomorrow. I'm not sure how
That's
that's going
right.
to work, but it's going to work. So you want to see that as well. But we got one more for you, and
Oh,
this one legitimately, like, I cannot. This
oh yeah,
blew my mind,
yeah.
okay? Because a university in Japan, the Kyoto University Hospital, is beginning the world's
Nice.
first clinical trial of a tooth regrowth medicine. Where has this been all of our lives? Forget veneers, guys. This medicine will hopefully be available by the year 2030, which in reality is in a very short time frame. That's in 6 years. But I I'm lost for words. Yeah, I'm just gonna say that. That's all I can say. When you were reading this, Patrick, like, what was going through your mind?
Can we get vampire teeth? That's what was
Someone's
going
gotta
through my
ask that
mind.
question.
I want tiger teeth. I want, you know what I mean? Like, what kind of teeth can I get? Can I get, anything I want? Like, what kind of teeth are we talking about? Yeah, honestly, of course, it's fascinating to regrow. And does it stop there? And really, how does that technology work? Right? Does that make sense? Like, they're sort of like turning on a switch that you have already, like a mutant gene. Maybe there's more switches. I'm just saying. But yeah, it's absolutely exciting. And how long does it take? Does it make sense? Like, and if they could get that better, where you can just like going to get your car wash, you can go in and they hit you with the teeth thing, whatever it is. I don't know what motion I'm making, but some sort of jab. I don't know, what do they give you, a pill? I don't know how this works. But yeah, it's fascinating for sure. And again, honestly, really, if I'm being real, like where do we start? Eyes, other limb. Does that make sense? Like that's where I started thinking, oh wow, this is interesting, and it affects so many people worldwide, right? This is
Right.
being done right. I think they talked about 1% of their population. I think it was their population. It could have been the global population, but being affected by having a loss of 10 or more teeth, I think it was, or less, 10 or less teeth. But either way, right, needing this, it can really affect your life in a big way. So just on that, on a human level, right, it's cool. Obviously, if they offer it in a, you know, affordable way, of course, right? Like where does it go? What takes it over if it's that great? Because they did test it on animals and it worked great, no side effects. That would obviously be your first question. All of a sudden, you got like a molar coming out the side of your head. Doc, this is not where I want my jaw. Right here. Yeah, you know what I mean? I don't know. That would be scary if the teeth just start coming out. Could you see there's a horror movie written in here. Somewhere there's a horror where this guy just has teeth just start popping out all over his body in different sizes, and he just becomes this tooth monster like the scary tooth fairy. I don't know.
Ew.
I'm sorry. I don't.
That you know
Yeah,
what? It probably
exciting.
went through these scientists' heads when they were creating this. They're like, "We're gonna avoid that at all costs."
Did they? We don't know, Christina. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, they probably did. You're right. Let's be real. Of course, right. Let's make sure the teeth grow in the mouth where we need them to. There must be that's why I think it's some sort of, I didn't really get into the details of what's, because I'm not a doctor, but of what's happening. Is it a switch they're turning on that can regrow right at the bait, right? Like it's already, if that makes sense, you know what I mean? Sort of get the soil, rehydrate the soil, if you will. Or is it some implant they put in that then grows, a seed they place? I don't know. Do
And
you
how
know any
long does
details about that?
No, I know what you know, and that's about it.
Wow,
So
then we're
I know
screwed,
it's not hot.
Christina. That
I know. It's not great, but it would be interesting to see how fast it will grow. Will it grow
yeah,
like baby teeth that take time? Will it be painful? Will you be sedated? Will it just be a pill and it'll grow instantly? There's all these different things, and there's a lot
yeah,
of cultures that really depend on having good teeth, mainly in the
yeah,
Western part of the world, where if you have a good smile, you're able to get people to like you a little bit more than when you don't. It's
yeah.
been tested. It's just I know it sounds terrible, but
I
it
like
it
you more.
it's true.
You got a good smile. I like you more. That
I
is not
know.
funny. No, but
It's
it is. It's true. It's what you're saying is
now
true.
back in the day, this is crazy. Okay, back I wanna say this was the 16 and 1700s in China. If you had super black teeth, that was the way to go. And yes,
Really?
because it showed how much tea you drank, and the better the tea, the darker the teeth, the more rich you were. And
Got it.
so I don't think that's the
Got it.
right time frame, 16, 1700s, but it was in the
Sure.
ancient past.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it like that. And so
Wow.
the evolution of beauty changes from country to country, and it changes throughout history, which like foot binding, also in China, that you had to have your foot binded if you were a woman of high class in order to get a good marriage. Now, people think that you're insane to do something like that, to have a baby foot on a grown woman. And so beauty is constantly changing.
The
Hopefully by the year
that's
2030, people
crazy.
might still like to have a decent amount of teeth to where they're going to be using this medicine.
Not if we become AI. We're just gonna put in smart teeth. We're just gonna have some sort of other things. I don't know. You won't need teeth. There'll be something else. I don't know. Yeah, I
Just
mean,
like
for sure.
graders.
Yeah, yeah, just graders. Maybe you can change them out, that's why I'm saying you could go that's, this week I want, Wolverine teeth, and next week I want
Why
whatever,
not? Why
something
not?
like a woodpecker. Do they have teeth? I don't know.
No.
Birds don't
Well,
have teeth, right? Do some birds have teeth? I don't know.
penguins, they have little fangs going all through their throat.
Oh,
It looks like
really?
fangs. It's terrifying. Yeah, I dare you to
Holy
look up the inside of a penguin.
Jesus.
Let's do
Oh
it right
my
now.
god.
inside a
that is
penguin's
crazy.
mouth teeth. Oh,
That's a portal I don't want to go down.
I'm gonna show it to everyone. It's okay.
Wow,
Okay, because
that
we're doing this live.
is crazy.
All right, here
Penguin
we
having
go.
a throat full of teeth or fangs,
So, hold on. And I'm doing this on the spot. I gotta be
like shark
speedy with
fangs.
this.
Oh, you're fine.
That's the thing. Okay, here. Those
Oh
are
my
all teeth.
god.
Yeah.
Oh, oh, that's a penguin. Holy shit. Oh, I'm sorry, Christina.
You can't say that.
Oh my god. That is terrifying.
Yeah,
That is I will have nightmares now.
you're
Oh
welcome.
my god. I've seen penguins at the zoo, which I'm not saying I approve of that, but
You know,
I've
they were
seen penguin and they're cute little things, and I didn't know they were vicious like that. That is terrifying. Wow.
well,
So
and then another fun fact about birds, because a lot of them don't have teeth except for penguins and maybe like one or two others, but they have to eat rocks because they don't have teeth. So when they eat food, it gets all crungled up. It's not even a word, but it gets chewed on, gnawed
yeah.
on with the rocks that they consume in the stomach so it
What
can all be
the hell?
digested properly.
What the hell? They gotta eat rock. Penguins gotta eat rocks.
No, no, birds, like your average
Oh,
birds.
just your average bird. They eat rock. Oh, I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
didn't know they
Now
eat
you know.
rocks. Wow.
Now you know.
Okay. This is I'm learning something new. I did not know they
And
eat rocks.
go to
Wow.
Factsophical for more fun facts. That link is in the description box below because who doesn't love fun facts like penguins and teeth? Oh, and
I've been feeding them bread. I've been doing it all wrong.
oh, you
I've been
can't feed
doing
them
it all
bread.
wrong. Oh, you don't give them bread?
No, you can't. Okay. So while we're still on this, you can't feed birds or turtles bread because it expands in their stomach. So even though they're super hungry and they need nutrition, the bread stops it and they die faster than when they eat like
Oh my
lettuce
God.
and their
Wow.
vegetables and stuff. Yeah, so
Holy
it's
cow.
it's ideal to not
I feel
feed animals
horrible
just
now.
general bread.
I mean, sure. But yeah, I have made that mistake several times in a lot of different countries.
But it's
And
okay,
now I
now
feel
you won't.
horrible.
No,
No.
now
Oh
you
yeah.
won't. So it's okay.
No. I hope I remember that. I could see this is like a Seinfeld moment right now. Like a month from now, I'm gonna forget. Someone's like, remember they told you don't feed the birds with the bread. And I'm like, I don't remember. I was never told that. And then they cut to a clip of me being told that. And I'm like, oh, I was
Gotta
told
give them
that.
like lettuce and seeds and all
I
all
mean,
that
that's a
fun
good
stuff. We
point.
love bread.
Usually they do. You're right. There's something else. You're right. I mean, yes, you are correct. This is a while ago. I have done this in like public parks and stuff.
Yeah.
But you're right. Yeah. Okay. Well, PSA for birds. Y'all feeding birds
And turtles. And all
and
and all
turtles
animals.
and and human beings.
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
everybody.
bread's delicious, but it's not nutritious.
I love bread. I love
And okay,
bread.
for those that don't know, and I'm gonna spoiler alert. Patrick is a chef, and I gotta ask
Yeah.
you while you're here, have you baked bread?
Oh, of course. Yeah, yeah. All kinds of
I
bread.
looked up no. Okay, last week I was obsessed with making bread, and I'm like, I'm gonna learn everything and everything and anything that I can. I bought all the ingredients before watching the videos on how to make bread. It's so hard. Why?
No,
Why
no.
is it so
It's
difficult?
really not. The only thing that's really difficult is once you figure out how to get your yeast built up right, right? And then kneading it and resting it properly, right? So that it rises, right? Like just getting that right and the temperature in which you store it to rise. You'll figure that out pretty quick. It's really simple. It's flour, right? The yeast that you're going to use, little salt. You don't need much. Like it's when you get, dude, you get into like a rhythm. It's like it's like scrambling eggs. You're going to screw up. Just know that when you start making bread, you're going to screw up. But then it clicks. You just get one time, you get it, and then you never look back. I promise you, you never look back. I've definitely made a lot of bad batches of bread or just dough in particular for whatever different thing that I've made. It's going to happen. There's a saying in food that we've always copied from Anthony Bourdain, which is you got to go through the bad meals, right, to get to the good ones. So you got to go through the bad bread to get to the good one. And I promise you, it will become easy. Take all the nonsense out of it. If there's all this other stuff, just keep it simple, right?
Yeah,
Flour,
it's like,
yeast,
eh,
salt, water. You don't need go easy. Get the yeast packets. It's like, oh, ready to go. Like, don't worry about that. Don't even
well,
worry about what kind of flour. Oh, I need to use bread flour. Don't worry about any of that. Just, sift it. That's a good, sifting it is
that's a
good.
valid idea when it comes to bread. But I don't I don't wanna stick too long on bread, but I know that you're a chef, and I was gonna ask you this
Sorry. I'm sorry. I could
earlier,
talk
but I was
for
like,
forever. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I totally
"No,
forgot we're
no,
even on a live stream here. Like
no,
for a
no,
second, all of a sudden I'm just
bread's
talking
important."
bread. My bad.
So you gotta make bread for you and your family, but not for the birds or
Oh,
turtles.
see, I couldn't help it. I got to figure out something else. I'm going to make them lettuce next time.
Yeah, yeah, you gotta grow lettuce in a cage,
Yeah.
inside of your house. That's a Father Ted reference, only some will get
Oh,
that, but you
that's
could grow
funny.
lettuce in your house if you really wanted to, and farmer, thank you for that, I do appreciate it, but we have a few minutes left. We have a few minutes left,
Oh,
Patrick,
yeah.
and, I'd like to know a little bit more about you. I know, I just put the spotlight right on you like that. So,
Go
let's
bring
start
it.
off with, and I'm gonna ask the generic question here, but I think people wanna know, myself included, have you had your own UFO or paranormal experience that maybe has kinda got you started in your vetted podcast?
I've never had like a personal UFO or what I would deem like ET experience. But as far as like, I don't know if I would call it paranormal, but I've definitely had some experiences that I couldn't explain, but they had nothing to do with like lights in the sky or anything like that. But definitely just some, weird sounds and different things that, maybe a whisper or something, just something off. I remember going to, when I lived in Pennsylvania, in Lancaster, just outside Philadelphia, we used to go to the pen. It was a penitentiary that wasn't in running anymore. It's in downtown Philadelphia. You can still go to it and visit it. It's been used in many movies like 12 Monkeys. And it was the first penitentiary in the United States. So it's old. It's got history, right? And there was all these stories about it. So we would go and like take a camera and like we want to capture a ghost. This is in my early 20s. And there were some weird things we saw. I'm not gonna lie. There's definitely some weird things and weird sounds, and you just never knew where it was coming from or what it was. So I don't know. That's as far as it goes for me though. But I'm open. I really want to see a UFO, if I'm being honest. I really want to have that experience. And I've been in a lot of places that I could have, and I just haven't. I don't know. It just hasn't happened. you know, and I'm waiting for that day. Now, some sort of ET close up experience, I could do without. I don't know how interested I am in that.
Why not? Like, is it kind of because 'cause you're maybe scared of strangers or just because you don't know what their intentions are?
Yeah, I am. I mean, on another note, I am scared of strangers. No, I'm kidding.
It happens,
No,
it happens, it happens.
no, I'm not scared of strangers. I mean, I live in Texas. We say hi to everybody. Um,
But don't take candy from strangers. Mm,
Definitely not.
mhm.
Definitely not, unless it's Reese's. I'm kidding. Do not do that. That is a joke. Yeah, no, I'm not scared of strangers, but I am scared of the unknown in that sense. Like I don't really have any, reference of being like, oh, this is what that experience will be like. So I'm going to do it. I don't know what's going to happen to me. Now, if it just happens, I'm going to deal with the moment, right? What am I supposed to do? Let's hope it doesn't come to that because I have a feeling I'd be fighting back. I'd go all Travis Walton. I would be grabbing something, swinging, literally. When I remember that's why his story fascinates me. The Fire in the Sky, Travis Walton, that story, and hearing him tell it is, I'm like, yep, that's what I would be doing. I'd be grabbing something, whatever it is. I don't care what this thing is. I'm grabbing it. I'm swinging at it, and whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, hit
Would you just go for it?
well, you gotta hit first and ask questions later. I think it's
Yeah.
just like in Texas blood,
Yeah.
maybe. But
Oh man. Come and take it. That's
everything
our saying, right?
come and take it, that's right. The Alamo, right? I
Mhm.
think it
Um, yes
feel
and
like that
no.
was
I don't think we said that at the
okay.
Alamo. We said, remember the Alamo. Come and take it. I'm not, you know what? I'm gonna be honest. I don't know where that saying comes from. I know it's a
I
Texas
know
saying,
it's
but
on
I
the
don't know the
flag,
origin.
yes.
It's on the flag with the snake. But I
Right.
don't know if you know what? They could have said it at the Alamo. Let's be real. Someone at the Alamo said it. We don't know if they got it on,
Pro
someone overheard it, but someone definitely said, come and take it. Somewhere along the line, that happened in that battle for sure.
pro probably. And
Right?
Marcus, thank you so much for that. So, to answer your question, I think, it's very different to say something and then do something. You don't know how you're going to react until it happens. It's just human
Sure.
nature. And
Sure.
so, for
Sure.
myself, I like to think that I'm a passive, decent person, and maybe I won't punch them in the face before I try to talk to them unless they look like a ginormous cockroach or maybe a praying mantis, then maybe I might freak out
Yeah.
significantly.
Yeah.
But if they have, and this is gonna sound terrible, but this is what I think a lot of people can probably understand. If they have a more humanoid looking physique, facial structures, it's going to be easier to communicate with them and feel this connection versus seeing a ginormous praying mantis with fingers. Who
Yeah.
wouldn't panic?
100%.
Serious,
Yeah.
valid question. And this is
Yeah.
brings in
Good point.
a phenomenon with UFOs and extraterrestrial encounters is that sometimes people have mentioned that they are using some kind of cloaking device and to make them look more humanoid for there to be a more civil interaction versus maybe
Sure.
showing their true form. Who knows what they look like? And
Sure.
this is something that I think is a valid explanation. And another good example of this is with Whitley Strieber, where he's had a handful of his own encounters, but he's mentioned that there's a connection between the UFO and phenomenon and the paranormal, where either before or after having a UFO experience, he would encounter a paranormal one with a loved one, with someone that he knew. And could that be, or could those types of paranormal entities be generated by these UFOs in order to create that more, again, civil interaction to communicate with something that you're more comfortable with than
Mm.
with a stranger? You're not going to have a deep conversation usually with someone that you just met or that you're seeing walking down the street and you're like, hey, let me tell you my whole life story and how I got this scar. You're not going to do that. You will do that with your friends, those that you trust. This could be the same mentality with these kinds of entities. But in your opinion, how would you rationalize that?
Oh, those are great points. Yeah, they could be taking a memory and building a program, if you will, off of it to then show you. It could really be your loved one, and that's you do become this entity after you pass. I mean, right? Yeah, absolutely. And to make a connection that's less threatening, right, or non-threatening, right, to us. Um, I mean, absolutely. No, those are great points. I agree.
Mhm.
I don't know what I would add. I totally agree. It's totally possible, and still scary though. I'm being honest. I don't know if it ever
Scary?
stops being
Why?
scary. Well, just because, again, no matter what we're told or even what we see, till some time passes and there's a reference, it's hard to trust it all the way.
So
Whatever
it's
this
scary because
phenomena
of the
is.
unknown. Is
Yeah,
that what you're
absolutely,
getting at?
100%. And we don't know what if it's one entity, multiple, what their intentions are, what their morals are, if they even have something like that. Everything, right? Go down the list. Squash us like a bug if we're not working out, or move on from us, or maybe they protect us at all costs because we're somehow important in some way, or right there's also that side of it. It's just the unknown. We don't know. And again, even if they told us something, how can we trust what they're saying to us all the way without knowing, right? What reference do we have? Oh yeah, they don't lie to us. They tell us the truth about where they're from and what their intentions are. I just don't even know why they would worry about scaring us, but maybe they would, right? It's I don't know. It's just all frightening to me either way. And I don't know if even manipulating our loved ones, or if that's even what they're doing, are the loved ones there on their own consent, right, to talk to you? So I don't know. Just interesting.
I think you bring up some points that need to be addressed, and I messed up on the screens, and I'm sorry about that.
Oh,
It looked really weird.
no.
I wanted to do this. There we go. That's what I wanted to do, and it didn't turn out great. Thank you for
I
the
didn't miss a
applause. I
beat. Did you see that? I just kept going.
No,
I know
you
what's
were
up.
at it.
I
You
know
know
what's
what?
up.
Respect. That's a professional right there.
Yeah,
Don't
absolutely.
even
I knew you'd
hesitate.
figure it out. I knew you'd figure it out.
It's the faith. That's what I need. But
Yeah.
but when it comes to the unknown and fearing these entities, I think it seems as if people are scared of them because they only have the human mentality of how would a human react and act towards another
100%.
human. There is that
100%.
level of fear. We don't
Yeah.
know what's going on in these entities' minds, how they're being extraterrestrial, interdimensional. If they're military from planet Earth, we can have an idea that they're not going to be the nicest, just because we deal with humans every single day. At least I think so for the majority of us, right? And so we understand their basic mentalities. We
Uh,
understand that everyone has their own agenda and will do what it takes to give them the comforts, but to take them away from you. But if we're dealing with certain entities that maybe don't have that same kind of rationale, we wouldn't know until we get in that situation. And even then, we would be very skeptical of are they lying to us? But it would be awesome if we dealt with people or entities like the Vulcans, where they don't lie, they're very straightforward, no emotions, and that's what it is. They serve it to you on a silver plate without hesitation. I I'll make this really short. I had a professor and he was teaching communication, and he had mentioned that his hero of all time as a child was Spock because he had no emotions. And
that's
you know
funny.
what? I felt that. I
That's
felt that.
funny.
I was like,
That
yeah,
is so
that's
funny.
pretty good.
Get rid of emotions. We'll be much better off. I don't know, right? Yeah, that's interesting. That is funny. Yeah, I think a sea of people, like all the all the different species, all the different types, it would just be knowing that that's what it is, right? Like we know, so then we could prepare, right? It's like taking me for a walk and not telling me it's going to rain, and I didn't bring an umbrella. Like I don't know. That's a horrible analogy. I can't. I'm spitballing here, but my point
Well,
is just that that unknown factor. But once we're past that point, right? I mean, yeah, I think that's going to be exciting to meld with other species and what we can learn. Right? That's what I would be most excited about. What we can learn more than anything. Me personally.
I'm ready for Star Trek to become a reality.
Oh
That kind
man,
of society,
be
that
so
kind of
cool.
travel.
Yeah.
I
Oh
I wanna
god.
live to see that day
Yeah,
because
me
I
too.
think it'll really open our eyes and help us be more open-minded to just not only having these conversations, but also dealing with species that we don't know anything about and showing that level of respect. D Actually, I'm just gonna leave that right there. I'm just gonna leave that there. Mic drop.
Yes, mine's on a it's stuck on here. I would drop it for you,
I
but
know. I know, same,
damn
same.
it, it's there's nothing I could do here. I just tap it. That's what I do on my show. I just tap. No, I'm just kidding. I don't. I just made that up. I don't do that. But you could. That's the new mic drop when you can't actually drop it. Yeah,
That's a
bring it.
valid idea.
Bring
Well,
it, Star
Pat
Trek world.
Patrick, I really appreciate you being on the show today. Where can people find you online to stay up to date with all of your shows and your latest news?
Yes, thank you for having me. This was awesome, Christina. People can check me out. You can go to vetted.show, SHOW. That will basically take you everywhere. Our Patreon's there, merch, the YouTube, we're on Twitter, the YouTube. Did I just call it that? Oh my God. We're on the YouTube, folks, on the old intranet. Um, And if you just go to YouTube and search vetted, we come up right away. I think everywhere you go and search vetted. But yeah, again, every day, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. I do not miss a day.
Rock on. And those links will be in the description box below. Patrick, I'm gonna put you backstage, okay?
Awesome. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, vetters.
Thank
Thank you, everyone watching.
Thank you. It was such a blast to be able to speak with Patrick, have him on the show, talk about strange news, and to hear his points and ideas on the topics that we covered. You know what? Sometimes it's so awesome to have someone on and to just talk about these things like we're talking over a cup of coffee or something. If you enjoyed the show, hit that like button right down below, subscribe to the Vetted podcast, and if you like fun facts like the thousands of teeth that penguins have, check out my other channel called Factsophical. That link is right down below, where I share strange facts and maybe some that could save your life. If you need help falling asleep, relaxing, or using your imagination to wander the universe, take a look at my Cosmic Portals music channel where I make space ambient music. I made it for me originally because I have insomnia and it helps. Hopefully, it helps you as well. I want to say thank you to everyone catching this live, all the super chats, super stickers, YouTube members, Patreon supporters, and of course, all of my amazing moderators. And Vito, you're awesome. Thank you so much for that. That is it for today. I will see you next time. Be safe and remember, keep your eyes on the skies.